Night of the Demons 3. I have one more left. I'm going to review the remake as well. And let's talk about this thing. Now, I loved the first. I've seen it a bunch. And the second one was pretty damn good. So, I was going into this knowing that it isn't as well received as the two previous ones to this. And I have to agree, this one is definitely not great. But I still think that it fits into the Night of the Demons franchise. I don't feel like it's some separate entity that they just slapped a sticker on at the end. It definitely has a similar feel. It very much belongs in it. I wish it was better. I'll have to compare this kind of to, now stay with me here because I know a lot of people just despise this movie, so it's going to make it seem like this movie is awful because I say this, but this reminds me of something like Jaws the Revenge. Jaws 4 the Revenge is this movie that I don't hate. I mean, it's not a good movie, but it's a Jaws movie. I mean, it has a Brody in it. It's set out on the water against a shark. The fucking family member goes out to take the thing down in the end of the it's very much a fucking Jaws movie. And there's scenes about that movie that I enjoy very much. And there's a lot of scenes that are stupid and ridiculous and you have to roll your eyes. And that's kind of this film for me. It fits into the Night of the Demons franchise for sure. And it's got enough going on to it that I'm like, I had an okay time watching this. But man, it could have been a lot better. So it's the Jaws the Revenge of the franchise. That's not what you want to hear when you make a movie. But that's what I have to say about it. Anyway, so this movie is yet again, the director of the first one came back to write this one. Not the writer, but the director. He'd not done any writing on these films before, but he came back to write this one and not direct it. I don't know if any other film has done that before, but this one is. And this is about kids who are avoiding the school dance and end up at Hull House. How they get there and whatnot, I'm not going to say. It's spoiler territory. But it's like, really? The kids are another dance and on Halloween night? Now, I wasn't great in high school. I got in a lot of trouble. I left earlier than I should have. I wasn't invited to a lot of dances, but do schools do dances on Halloween? I mean, and does anyone go to Hull House on any night but Halloween? The fact that it's every movie is kids going to a dance, not going to a dance on Halloween night and going to Hull House. It's like really 3 in a row. And do schools have dances on Halloween? I'm not sure. Please let me know if I'm wrong on that. I just didn't remember that happening. Now, let's get into the good things about this movie. First and foremost, the gratuitous tits and ass in the beginning. I mean gratuitous. Like close-up shots of the characters' tits. And then them just lingering on it and like other characters coming up and looking at them. And then them pushing them against the... like, that was awesome and hilarious. And just like fucking this director was like, I don't give a shit. This is going to be full-on gratuitous. And I am not complaining in the slightest. This movie has neon lighting in it, especially in the van. One of the main characters is in a van, and there's a bunch of neon lighting, and all their faces are neon. Anytime neon lighting is in a movie, I'm pretty much immediately into it. I really like the detective. The main detective in this movie is just kind of nonchalant about things, and I enjoyed his performance. I like that there was some continuity to the entire franchise, all 3 of these. And one of the things is obviously Hull House and Angela and this and that, but they also keep this. They cross the running water underneath the ground is what keeps the demons in it. So they actually not only explain why the demons can't leave the property unless somebody takes like a lipstick container, like part 2, but also they keep that continuity. It doesn't just change from movie to movie, like what happens and what keeps them there and what lets them not leave. So what keeps them there and what makes them not leave? That's the same thing. Dumbass. Anyway, Now, another thing is the demon mask. Even though it's really never divulged what this demon is, the real demon, Angela is mostly just a victim who is a conduit for this demon. So Angela gets all the credit, or the bad credit, for being the villain, but at the same time, you're watching this movie and you realize that it's just this demon. They show it in all three films, and it's this like white bony looking mask face thing, and it's the same mask in all three. And it might just be the same shot, because in this movie, in the second movie, and in the first movie, now it is from the first movie, there's a shot of Angela coming down the hall, like the shot is done like haphazardly and frantic to, and sped up so that it just looks more scary. But they used, and I went into the trivia just to make sure, but yeah, it is the exact same shot. They just copy and paste in all three films that one shot. I don't know why they picked that one specifically, but yeah, it was in this one too. I saw it in the second one, I was like, is that really the same? I looked at it and I was like, yeah, it is. And then when I saw it in the third one, I was like, I guess this is just a thing now for them to do that. Another thing I really enjoyed was Angela's character takes a guy's handgun and gives it a full-on, like 30 fucking second hand and mouth blowjob. And it is like sensual and sexy and uncomfortable because it's a handgun in some girl's mouth, but it is a full, like, you feel like you're watching Pornhub.com kind of porno, like a full-on blowjob on this gun. I don't think I've ever seen that before. To the extent she takes it to, it's like, whoa, this is serious. Now, this is going to be a positive and a negative. There are cool practical effects, especially at the very, very end. There is, on one of the characters' death scenes, there is really cool practical effects happening. But this is where I'm going to just segue into my negatives. There's a lot of CGI in this movie, and this is the early 90s CGI, so it's bad. And there's a lot of CGI enhancements on top of the practicals, and that really distracts from the practicals. It distracts from everything going on the screen. Like, these guys took their time, these incredible practical effects wizards, I'm sure, these guys who really seriously take their art and just litter it with garbage CGI from the 90s. It's like, why would you have awesome effects like this from these guys who tried so hard to make it and were successful, and then throw bullshit CGI on it? Like, really? Now, this is yet again another positive and negative, is that in the first film, there is an awesome animated opening that I really enjoyed, and then in the second one I was like, it's lacking. The second opening is lame. And then in this third one, they brought back an animated opening, and the music's okay. It's not great. It's kind of just blah. But it was an animated opening, but it's CGI. Now I did not like it so much, but I did like it better than the second one, even though it was not good CGI, which I'm not opposed to CGI. I mean, I love CGI when it works. When you put it in a Star Wars movie or a Lord of the Rings or something, like, I'm fine with it there. But in horror, I'm pretty much almost always like, no, it doesn't need to be there. Rare cases. I mean, the recent It movie, I thought it was fine. I know a lot of people are bitching about it, but I was never taken out of the movie because of the CGI in that. But this is 90s CGI. This is early 90s CGI. This is Langolier's Job's War, Lawnmower Man 2 days. This is bad CGI. So it really is bad. Another stupid little thing that happens in this movie that happens in fucking thousand other movies is a guy is firing his gun and the slide clicks locked because it's out of bullets, and they show it like in a close-up. The gun is like in frame, out of bullets, and then he just turns and just starts shooting again. And it's like, oh, I don't know why that annoys me so much, but it just does. Another thing they changed, this is a continuity error, kind of just a misstep here, which it's to kind of be expected. I was praising the last film because they at least made Hull House look the same, because I didn't want a Halloween 5 scenario. But this one, even though Hull House looks similar-ish on the outside, kind of, not really. The house in this movie is nice. Like, inside, it's not dusty, danky, or, rotten, dirty, spiderweb filled. It's like new. It looks like a nice house. So I don't know if they just didn't have the budget, or maybe the Demons did a makeover. Maybe they had some like HGN network fucking special where they went and fixed up Hull House, but we missed that sequel. That actually would have been funny. I think that they would have had a better time doing that instead of kids fucking going to a school dance. But back then they didn't have reality TV shows. But Jesus, anything would have fucking been better than another bunch of kids going to a high school dance, or missing out on it. One of the main characters is in 2 episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark. I instantly recognized him, and they're 2 completely separate Are You Afraid of the Dark episodes, so he's not playing the same character. So I was like, wait a minute, isn't that the kid, in Laughing in the Dark? Fuck yeah, man. If you're not a fan of Are You Afraid of the Dark, I'm not sure we can be friends. I think this was just an audio issue on my DVD specifically, but one fuck was missing from this movie. The mouth just moved fuck and it just completely blanked it out. But I'm pretty sure, because all the other fucks are in here, I cannot imagine that they just cut one out. There's a scene in this movie where this girl's hand turns into a snake, and I'm pretty sure the snake of her own hand goes and eats her pussy for a second. It's subtle, but I'm pretty sure that that's what they were implying. This movie has a lower budget, and it really just shows. Not only do they use CGI enhancements, which are just so unnecessary, but they also just... a lot of things are just missing and feel cheap. The actors, the sets, the dialogue. Not that dialogue is expensive, but if you're going to make a good movie, you usually hire the best person for the job. And I don't know, they brought back the original director maybe thinking it would be good, but man, some of that dialogue, some of this, all of it overall is just very subpar. The ending is lackluster. The last 2 had some really cool endings, so that was a bummer. As I said, the dialogue is just not good. It's campy. Some places it's okay, but for the most part, I just was kind of underwhelmed by it. And then there is a super tacky ass romance scene between 2 characters towards the end, and it's so forced and it's so shoehorned in, and you're just like, really? Come on. I am not against romance in any film. I think they can be done super effectively and wonderful. So I'm not somebody's like, ugh, romance, get that shit out of here. Not at all. It can totally fit. I have no problems with romance in films. But this one was just terrible. And I guess that is about it. Going through my notes here. Oh, some of the characters look like they're 25, even though they're supposed to be 17. Typical. Nothing different there. Yeah, that's it. So I'm going to check out the remake next. But as far as the original run from this series, this is it. So overall, I had a good time with it. I mean, I really I love the first one. The second one's really fun. And the third one is adequate. I think I said a lot of negatives, so it just looks like I hated this movie. But I wasn't sitting there bored out of my mind or anything. I felt like I was watching a Night of the Demons film. So I liked that. And I liked some of the aspects about it. There's some laugh out loud moments to it, intentional or not, probably a little mixture of both. But overall, it's all right. It's not one you need to rush to. But if you're a big fan of the Night of the Demons series, I can't imagine you haven't seen the third one being a big fan of the series. You never know. But if you really like it, you should, just give it a chance. See if you dig it.